So hello and welcome to the first of our Tech Chat series. And my name is Martin Gore and I'm the sales lead at Industry Excellence around the topic of SAP MES. And today I have two of my colleagues with me. We have Clément, who's located in our office in Lyon, and he's our European delivery lead. And we have Xavier, who is currently living in Spain, and he's part of our SAP Digital Manufacturing implementation, really focusing around the topic on DM. Today is the first in our series of three, and across the series we want to cover really three areas or three topics. The first one is, what is SAP Digital Manufacturing, its functional capability, and is it really relevant for my industry and my business? Okay, that's what the topic we're talking about today. The next one is going to be our next in the series is like, how do I extend digital manufacturing be able to meet the challenges of my business and the use cases that I have. And then the final topic we will cover will be, how do I integrate DM and capture data from the automation layer down in the shop floor? So the topic around, how do I collect my cloud world to my physical world? Okay, so that's the three topics we're going to be covering in our series. But to start off with, many of you on the phone are MII customers or ME customers, and so you probably have already looked at SAP Digital Manufacturing and have an idea in terms of what it's capable of, etc. But there are a few people who are joining this webinar series who necessarily don't have that background. So to start off with, to bring everyone up to a level playing field, Clément, why don't you just do a quick overview in terms of what is covered by SAP DM at a high level? Okay.
Thanks, Martin. So yeah, SAP Digital Manufacturing is the latest MES solution developed by SAP. It's the successor of SAP ME, SAP MII, the previous MES solutions. And the specificity about SAP DM is that it's a public cloud solution, meaning that updates and announcements done by the SAP product team are pushed to all tenants, but the configurations and the settings are localized by customer and plans. So it contains out-of-the-box integration, of course, with SAP S/4HANA and SAP ERP, plus also capabilities to integrate with SAP ME and MII. And it contains a lot of pre-configured industry standard. So almost everything that you could find on SAP ME, like the production operator dashboard, the work instructions, data collections, floor stock, everything you name it, is included into this product. And it's really the latest solution developed and currently being constantly announced by SAP, because as it's a public cloud solution, we have every quarter new releases with new content, new announcements that are pushed and that are proposed to our customers. So it's really a quick and fast evolving solution. And we are working with this solution with 4 customers right now. And it's really an interesting product.
Okay, so thanks, Clément. Thanks for that. And we'll go into some of these topics you mentioned in a little bit of detail later on, and in the future tech series. So as a sales individual going into the marketplace, I speak to a lot of customers, and initially a lot of customers think that, potential customers think that SAP Digital Manufacturing is really focused on discrete industries. But we well know through one of our projects that we've been quite successful in implementing in the process manufacturing sector. So Xavier, question for you, right? So does MES offer non-discrete functionality for process customers?
Yeah, Martin, thanks for the question. Yeah, SAP DM can be used for both industries, for discrete industries and process industries. It has capabilities for both, for production orders based on bill of materials and routings, and also for process orders, okay, based on recipes. So it has been evolving, but in previous releases, there were features apps that were specific to either production or process orders. But now we are seeing in more recent releases a combination of features in a single app. For example, there was an app for routing and recipes for the different industries that was unified in a single app. And also in other cases, there are new apps available in either industries. For example, we have the guided steps plugin in Order Pod, okay, which is a pod which is used for process industry. And we also have the guided steps plugin specifically developed by for the Work Center pod, which is for discrete industry. So yeah, each one of them has different functionalities, but we have in general different functionalities available for both industries.
Okay, so good. Thanks for that clarification. But I think what's quite interesting is that when we started on our DM journey, right, we saw discrete functionality, and then we saw process functionality, and now as more recent releases, you've got a merge of the functionality. So where you have something like guided steps, which is very important in process manufacturing, the operator does, add some chemicals, do some mixing, raise a certain temperature, and so on. We're seeing that kind of functionality now being available in discrete sector, which is really good. So a question for you, Clement, right, which is again a question that we get asked very often. So in S/4HANA, for example, you have PPDS, so production planning and detailed scheduling, and inside DM we have resource orchestration, or RIO for short. Could you explain very quickly the differences between the two? Because sometimes we get asked the question, does one replace the other? Right.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Martin. So no, SAP RIO does not replace SAP production planning and detailed scheduling. They are both complementary. So if we look at the purpose of production planning and detailed scheduling, it's short-term operational production planning and detailed scheduling, as I was saying, with a time horizon of 1 to 3 weeks, while SAP RIO is more focusing on working process, evolving orders, dispatching, shift planning. So it's on a shorter term horizon that the operator or the line engineer will be shifting some orders to different resources because they have a downtime, an unexpected downtime. So it's really complementary, and both remains are necessary in the SAP landscape and strategy.
Okay, that's clear. I know sometimes there is a confusion in terms of where does PPDS sit and where does RIO sit. So thanks for that clarification. So continuing with you, Clement. So when you look at the integration between DM and ERP, whether that's ECC or S4, right? SAP provides an out-of-the-box integration. Now we've gone through 4 implementations of DM, and actually we're just starting our 5th pretty shortly. Can you just give us an overview on what's critical in having a good project, right? When you're using DM in conjunction with S4 or ECC, I should say.
That's a good question, and it can take hours to answer.
It can take a long time to discuss, can't it? Yeah.
We will stay short. Indeed, especially at the start of a project, the topic about the integration between SAP ERP and SAP DM is key. So how do we approach it? Usually, a basic first point is to check what are the SAP version available. The SAP ERP version from the SAP ERP version will depend exact features that we could use on SAP DM. Is it an S4 cloud solution? Is it a SAP ECC version? We have to check that. Then, of course, the type of industry and the business. So is it repetitive, discrete, or process industries? Because it will have an impact on the other type that we will be implementing. The the flows that will be enabled on SAP DM. Also, the type of operator screens that we'll be using. We will be using Work Center, Operation, or other pods, for instance. So there will be a lot of dependencies of this, of course, of the industry type. There will be also. It will be also very important to understand how and when changes are made on production orders on the ERP side. So sometimes some customers are aware that the master system can switch in function of the in the flow between the ERP and the MES. And for some others, it's something that we need to bring. We need to make them understand that when a production order is released, for instance, then the MES becomes the master, and all changes possible on the ERP side should not be enabled. So it's very interesting and discussion and question to ask, because it can have an impact on the business, and they need to understand it. Then also we have a look at the master data on the ERP side. So the manufacturing routings and BOMs will have to be studied, because of course the execution will hardly depend on them, the execution on the MES. So we need to make sure that the right operations will be downloaded in MES and executed, and that it would correspond to the needs and expectations of the business, because we need to find on the shop floor really the right events to start, stop, declare goods, bad parts, and it's really a discussion that needs to happen as soon as possible at the beginning of the project to align. And yeah, there is other topics, but if we want to be short and respect the timing, I would stop here for now.
Yeah, I think because there are multiple topics in what you just outlined, right, which are sessions in their own right, as you go through. And I think one thing we always sometimes forget really is that, you know, a lot of enterprises use the SAP ERP system, and their bill of material and routings are really for finance, right? And this sometimes are not necessarily there for execution and manufacturing on the shop floor. And that's where you need to do that additional study analysis, isn't it? To turn that financial system at the right data in the shop floor for execution. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Now, still with you now, Clément. You've been part of DM now for the DM journey for the last sort of 3 years, let's say, roughly. You mentioned that every quarter there are new releases, so hence you've got new innovation. But from your perspective, what do you find the most interesting? Could you share with us some of the interesting things or the topics that you find are quite interesting to discuss with clients?
Sure. So I will be expressing the innovation that I see against SAP MEMI solutions I have been implementing for years. And I think the main innovations are this continuous enhancement enabled by SAP. So the quarterly release providing new feature, new flexibilities, extending the configuration and the capacity of the MES of the solution. Really, we in the last years we really saw the big improvement on the solution. And it is also allowing us to work in a co-creation program with SAP. We are in direct contact with what we call dev angels on SAP, the SAP product team, and we can push needs and requests directly to them, because it can come from us, it can come from our customers to ask for enhancement, to ask for changes. And the SAP product team revise it and give us a feedback about when it would be implemented. It will be put in their roadmap. So that's really a big advantage because before we were, let's say, less listened because the application evolution was more owned by SAP, and now there is really an interest of SAP product team to hear feedbacks and return of experience. Another important point is that we can use public APIs, and it's giving us a good flexibility if we compare with SAP ME PAPI that we could use in the past. It can seem similar, but now we can use those APIs with the design production processes, which is a low-code, no-code framework, and it's really powerful. It's really helping us to extend the solution using standard features that are supported by SAP. So all the code that we are using is, if there is any issue, SAP support team is there to help us and to solve those issues. So for the customers, it's really reassuring because there is much less custom codes, custom development than before, and it's really an added value for them. And now on the reporting side also, SAP needed some time to find the right approach and the right solution. And now we are using SAP Analytics Cloud to build custom reports out of manufacturing data objects. So it's table with aggregated data coming from SAP DM. And it allows us to fine-tune those reports for our customers. And in the near future, those MDOs, those tables will be customizable. So we really look forward these capabilities, because then we will have a really configurable and extendable reportings, and that would be really interesting for our customers.
Okay, so thanks, Clement. So if I just go a quick summary, right? So the first thing is that we find we've got great close collaboration, innovation with customers of SAP, right? Which is really important when you have a new application on the marketplace. There's great collaboration across all project stakeholders. That's good. We have extensibility by using public APIs, allows you to extend the application without customization. In fact, that's a topic we're going to talk in our next tech series in a bit more detail. Okay. And analytics, being able to just leverage some of the SAP standard tools like SAP SAC and into cloud to access data from just coming on the MES system. So that's pretty cool. So I'll ask the same question of you, Xavier, right? Which is you're in your second implementation life cycle, right? So in relation to one of those projects, right, what do you find quite interesting from some of the new features and functions which are about to be released or currently released?
Yeah, as Clement was saying, SAP DM is bringing new functionalities and to make the solution more flexible. And one in particular that I find really interesting is how the pods are configurable. They are quite flexible in the pod designer app. You can design it as per the client's needs. And one solution in particular is that I find really interesting and that can give value to the customer is the declaration of non-conformity reasons using a 3D model. Okay, so this is a new solution which you can use to select directly in the pod the defective BOM component that has a defect, and you can use a 3D model to select it directly in the work instruction viewer plugin in the pod, and then you can log the non-conformance for those BOM components using the non-conformance data entry in the plugin in the pod directly. So I think it is quite visual for the operator to see directly the piece, and it can be quite helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to put an example. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good example of moving away from character-based non-conformance to visualization of the 3D diagram, and the operator then just selecting it or just clicking and say this is where the non-conformity is around that. So thanks. So I'll ask you the next question as well, Xavier, right? So, you know, we all understand that digital manufacturing is evolving product. Implementations are very different. I think Clement can validate that from when you were doing ME and MII implementations, right? You could design anything that you wanted to. But today's implementations in DM are very, very different because they're very roadmap driven, right? So if customers are looking for a feature or function which is not available, how do they get visibility of this? How do they find that out?
Yeah, the customers can find a roadmap, okay, which is published by SAP and which is outlined quarterly, okay. In this roadmap, you can find per each quarter the list of new features or changes that are going to be deployed in future releases. So there you can also find them grouped by modules, and you can see the details and overview of the functionalities that are going to be deployed with each feature. So that can be quite helpful, yeah, to see the future releases, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Xavier. Thanks. And as Clement said, right, because we have quite close co-innovation and collaboration with clients and SAP, you know, we are actually able to, you know, not necessarily influence the roadmap, but for sure, if a client has a key business functionality, we can actually present that to SAP and get that on the roadmap accordingly, right? Which is also pretty good from a co-innovation perspective. Coming to our final question, really. So Clement, you have a lot of experience on deploying on-premise SAP MES solutions, that being ME and MII, right? From your point of view, do you find it at a high level, right? Is it easier to deploy DM versus an on-premise SAP MES solution?
So I think from my perspective, it's easier to deploy SAP DM versus a non-premise solution. Why? Because our approach also is a bit different with SAP DM. It's so easy to start small and grow versus on an on-prem MES, we were mainly doing long and huge projects, long implementations, taking months for the design, taking months for the development. And here the customer can really see much faster results. Pod, as was explaining Javier, integrating some machine and PLC data. So it's really an implementation loop much faster. So it's for the customer so much easier. At the beginning also, we don't have to install any hardware. Everything is managed by SAP. So that's also less of a burden for us. The solution also scale up and down automatically as required. So if more resources are necessary, the application is increasing the resources necessary on the system. As we were saying, also all the innovation, the constant innovation is really helping us, and we have a good visibility of what is coming and when. And with our partnership with SAP, we can really discuss more in detail so that we can really set expectations with the customer and plan our project accordingly. And the use of API, the public APIs, the extension features, so with the pod, the design production processes, the cloud integration, we can really extend avoiding complex and long custom development. So for the maintenance and for the implementation, it's easier.
Okay, so thanks for that. In terms of you know, your view on the, you know, being able to stand up a DM solution and project versus on premise. So that was our final question to today's tech chat. So I just like to say thanks, Clement, thanks Xavier for sharing answering the questions and sharing your own personal insights into the application. So we really appreciate that. And so for our next Tech Chat series, the topic we'll be talking about is, how do I extend SAP Digital Manufacturing to address the various use cases I have in our business? So really extending on what Clement talked about in terms of the various methodologies there are to extend the application. And in terms of the content for today, there will be actually a download of some slides, which you can get access to the background content that we've all been talking about in today's course. So I'd like to thank you for joining, and hopefully we'll see you in our next Tech Chat series. So cheers for now. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.